They're very good. Very good. And they lost some players from last year, but they're still extremely explosive. Put 38, I think, on Oklahoma State, who's number 10 team in the nation. They've had one game they've scored under 30 points the whole year. Very explosive. It's speed. I mean, that's the name of the game. And the quarterback, timing and delivery and the way he handles the offense and handles the ball. I mean, they're a really good football team on the offensive side of the ball. And they execute some elements a lot better than some of the teams we faced that have better athletes.
Ellis, do they remind you a bit of Florida in the way they use their running backs, putting a couple of them out there on the field at the same time?
Not really. I mean, they do that, but it's not really the same system at all. It's not really the same running game. They spread you out more than Florida does, and they throw the ball around more than Florida does. The closest thing is Southern Miss. Southern Miss is very similar, and I think they take the approach that if you spread out with them, they love to run football, but they're going to try to spread you out with the throw, and not the 2- and 3-back system.
Now, forgive me for not remembering the Southern Miss game, but what is it that people should be looking for?
Well, there's 3 elements I think that are almost identical to mirror of fast pace operation, which takes a lot of things out of your call system. I mean, you can't go to a lot of your stuff because you don't have time to check and change plays and those type of things. The spread, 4 wides out there, going to the 5 wides, and even when they got 2 backs in there, they've got 3 wides, spreading the field in order to try to get you spread out to run the football. And if you don't spread out with them, they throw the quick pass extremely well. The quick outs, the stop routes, the fade routes. So if you come up and press them, they throw the fade route. You lay off of them, they throw the stop routes. They got all the little quick screens. And you say, well, a lot of people throw those, but they don't make a living off of it the way these guys do. And the timing of it and the execution of it is very good.
Ellis, something that worked last week was Antonio Allen really kind of staying close to the line and getting in on a lot of those running plays. Is that going to be kind of the same thing moving forward?
Well, I don't know. All that comes in the game plan. He was in there sometimes. He was running a zone blitz. He was in there other times because their formation caused him to line up there. So it's strictly going to depend on what their offense does and how their formations unfold where he's lined up. And there's no telling where he'll be. He could be close to the box. He could be spread out all night long.
In the SEC, points are up this year. Is that the cyclical thing? Is it personnel specific? Have you noticed anything?
I don't know. Things go in trends. If I had time to look at it, maybe if it lasts for a while, you'd know what it is. I think right now, one of the big trends, and whether football is getting better because of it or not, I mean, I have my concerns, but is the no-huddle fast pace. And it's all about trying to snap the ball before somebody else can line up. And what happens, I think, when these teams stay in those systems for 3 or 4 years, they rot their defense. You get good at lining up fast and running around. You don't get good at fundamentals. So is it making football better? It depends on what you like. If you like a lot of points, it's making football better. If you like a lot of turnovers, you like a lot of big plays, fumbles, long gainers and things like that, the game's changing a little bit that way. If you've got a delivery man back there like Cam Newton or somebody, it's hard to stop. But, I think there is something about the operation time that's creating a lot of that.
You say rot your defense because practice-wise, your defense just...
Yeah, well, that's what, the thing about college football, we're the only level that never scrimmages another school, never scrimmages another opponent. The pros play exhibition games. The high schools scrimmage 5 or 6 times before they play. In college football, you don't work against anybody but your own system. So it stands to reason that if you run that system day in and day out through spring practice and 2-a-days, and you do it for 3 years, then that's what your team is going to get used to. And I think what unfortunately what a lot of defenses are used to now is running around trying to line up fast. They're fundamentally not very good. And a lot of times people snapping the ball before somebody's lined up. So it's just about trying to trick somebody as opposed to try to out-execute, out-block, and out-run.
So Sean Brusher's been wearing a yellow jersey. I'm not sure if you know, but is he going to be okay? What was the injury?
I don't have his status, but I think it was concussion. But those things are being evaluated. I don't know what the status is.
Do you feel confident that the defensive backs kind of gain their confidence back this weekend, or is it still sort of something you're walking them through to simplifying?
Yeah, I hope so. I don't know that they ever lost their confidence, but there was an element of frustration. I don't think they ever were at a point where they didn't believe they could play against anybody. But I think they definitely reached a point where they knew they weren't playing well. and it was a level of frustration more than lack of confidence. And hopefully they played better over the last couple of 3 weeks, but Florida was not a team whose philosophy is to throw the ball around. Now they got great athletes and they can throw it, but they didn't take the approach that we're going to throw it on first and second down and spread you out, or whether they were going to run football physically. And I think our defensive backs played a different style of team. This will be the first time since Arkansas or somebody, and Arkansas is very different than Troy's system, but they did have a quarterback who could throw it around. They had a great receiver core. He spreads you out more like Troy does. So there's going to be more opportunity and more responsibility for our defensive backs to be out on an island making plays in the throwing game. So we'll find out how much we've improved.
I guess Marty had some cramping problems last week. Did y'all have anything to address that this week to give him some more real time?
You mean cramping? I don't know what, there's nothing much more we can do unless these kids do something dietary-wise or other habits when we're not around them. For the previous 48 hours up to game time, the amount of fluids, Gatorades, water, the type of food we allow them to eat with us, what's served on the training table, what's in the pregame meals. We can't do much more about it. The conditioning elements there. Some kids just have more trouble with it. He could have been one of them who's also, we've had some bugs going around. If they get dehydrated from getting sick and lose a lot of the fluids, it's very hard to replace them. But why his cramping occurred, I don't know. But it's nothing unusual we can do more so than we're already doing.